Hi everyone, this is Group 8. I'm Shu. Together with my partner Anand, Braden, and Ryan, we will introduce our configurable Surface Explorer system. Our design is a small Surface Explorer rover that can autonomously explore celestial bodies in our solar system and costs less than $10 million to manufacture, while also being highly modular in its design. By studying the different climate conditions and atmospheric compositions of planets in our solar system, scientists can gain a better understanding of nearby planets and determine if any of them could be used as backup planets for human beings. It's also a goal of space exploration to find the potential signs for life and open up a vast area to look for other habitable worlds. With the design of the Surface Explorer system can lead us to discover whether there's another Earth-like planets and potentially provide us with an answer to the Fermi paradox. Finally, the Surface Explorer will be a fully autonomous and highly modular rover, meaning that it will be able to scan multiple planets at once without the need for human supervision, thereby greatly increasing our ability to collect information regarding our celestial neighbors. As for the stakeholders of the system, one is the industrial use cases. For those for-profit companies that wish to collect information regarding celestial bodies for space tourism purposes, then scientists and engineers who take part in the project, and the national security agents and people concerned about space-related threats such as asteroids and even aliens, and the federal legislatures or lower departments of the government, and finally, the science journalists and bloggers.
Now that we've established the high-level abstract for our rover, it seems undeniable that this project has the potential to be a strong net positive for all of humanity. Therefore, one obvious question does come to mind regarding this project. Why has no one done this before? And subsequently, why are we able to do this now? What advancements have been made that allow us to make this product that would have been impossible 50 years ago? Well, to start off, rovers have been being built for a very long period of time, where each new rover iteratively improves on the previous generation's design. By going through this improvement process for the past 50 years, we now believe that in 2022, human beings have the potential to design and build fully autonomous rovers at scale at a relatively affordable price point, in large part due to the recent advancements made in automation, and more specifically, self-driving technologies, as this software will be a key ingredient in allowing our rover to autonomously collect data regarding a celestial body without the need for input from a human operator. This data can then be sold to private space companies such as SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Virgin Galactic, all of which are desperate to gain a better understanding of the environments of the moons and planets located in our solar system, as many of these organizations have plans for space tourism. Finally, due to increased levels of standardization over the past 20 years, we now believe that it is possible to have a fully modular rover design, which will allow our clients to configure their rover to their own needs and desire. With that said, our team believes that right now is the most opportune time in human history to create a fleet of autonomous rovers, as this opportunity may not present itself again for the next few decades. To talk a little bit more about the specifics of our rover in particular, let me pass it off to my teammate Braden.
The overall idea for our design is to create a low-cost planetary surface explorer made for high volume and low-cost data collection. Ideally, this type of system would be able to traverse any type of surface found throughout the solar system. Some key features of our design include a modular system to interface with different types of scientific data collection equipment, including third-party equipment, an advanced drive system to be able to traverse any type of terrain. It'll also be able to run off of its own power indefinitely in low light and high light conditions. It will be able to store artifacts and data for return to Earth, and the operation will be fully autonomous. However, human interaction can be added if needed. Pictured here is our ConOps diagrams for various use cases of our design. The rover will be deployed on the planetary surface by a small rocket or probe, and it should be able to function for any necessary duration of time. The advanced drive system should be able to traverse any type of rough terrain, including mountains, icy conditions, etc. And the built-in navigation and autonomy allows for hands-off exploration and data collection, so we don't need any type of human input to control our rover to complete its mission. In normal operation and like highlighting conditions, our rover is going to use solar power as its main source of energy, but in low light conditions, we may use geothermal or piezoelectric energy to power our rover and store energy for our rover's operation. Data and communications are sent back between Earth and the rover at least every single day. So that way we can kind of keep in constant contact, have data transferred back and forth, and give the rover instructions on how to move forward. At the end of the mission, the samples and or the entire robot itself could be picked up by a rocket, or just data can be sent back to Earth if that's all that's needed.
Now that we have a general overview of how our robot will operate, we can begin creating the actual requirements for our rover, aka the mission critical objectives that our rover must be able to complete in order for it to go into production. Before we listed out any of these requirements, our team ensured that all of our requirements followed the SMART format. SMART, of course, just being an acronym, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and traceable. By following this format, we were hoping to avoid finding ourselves in the situation depicted in the image on the left-hand side, where our design team ends up creating a product that is nowhere near the wants of our actual user. Along with that, we also wanted to make sure that our requirements fit into the three main categories, which include functional requirements, performance-based requirements, and requirements regarding the constraints of our rover, which are especially important as this rover is meant to be a general purpose device, and we must ensure that in our requirements we state that the rover can operate the various temperatures, pressures, and atmospheres that it will find itself in. Along with that, we also wanted to create requirements for the various levels of our product, such as the system requirements, aka what the rover can actually do, the user requirements, such as how the user will, which include things such as how the user will interact with our rover, and finally the business requirements, which include details such as how much the rover should cost and how much the development of the rover should cost. Examples of some of our requirements are listed in the right-hand side on the PowerPoint slide, and a full list of our requirements can be found in our technical slide deck. After our team finished creating all of the requirements for our rover, we began creating the actual functional architecture that our rover will follow to complete its overall objective. Two things to note about this functional architecture is that we do have safety highlighted at the top, as we want to ensure that we are doing our best to keep our rover and its operator safe during the entire mission. Along with that, we also have use social media emphasized under our communicate results section, as we find that social media is a good way to spread the findings from our rover to the general public, as that decreases the barrier of entry to the scientific community to the highest degree. With the functional architecture now established, we could begin designing our actual rover. This began with creating a morphological matrix that listed out all the various options that we could think of for the various subsystems on our rover. By listing out these options explicitly in a matrix, we were able to better analyze the options and weigh their pros and cons. To talk a little bit more about this, I'll pass it off to my teammate Braden.
We decided to perform a case study on the main structural material of our rover. We needed to decide what material to make the structure out of our rover out of, and listed below are some of our criteria. Our main criteria were a high strength to weight ratio. It needed to be impact resistant and tough, and also be easy to manufacture and cheap because of our weight requirements. Using a decision matrix, we decided on carbon fiber or some other type of composite material such as fiberglass or aramid honeycomb. This is mainly due to its superior strength to weight ratio, which is one of our most important requirements there. And it also is pretty resistant to cold temperatures, and coatings would also allow us to have more resistance to chemicals and other types of hot and cold temperatures as well.
Cost and demand. For total research and development, it is estimated that we will spend $10 million. We plan on selling our product to NASA for $12 million a rover. This project should be supported by the American taxpayer because it will fund high-skilled jobs, further developing new technologies and creating business opportunities that will later flow back into the U.S. economy. Our surface explorers will be on the cheaper side compared to the previous Mars rovers, which cost upwards of $1 billion at its completion. Summary. Our rovers will help us discover the secrets of the surfaces and subsurface environments of the celestial bodies in our universe. They will help us understand their formation and potential for habitation, and when the time comes, they will serve as great resources to humankind as we begin to inhabit these planets and moons.
With that said, we thank you all for watching this presentation. We hope that you have found it informative, and if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. Thank you.